What's going on, my Patreon family? I had to bring the homies back in because we got some mess to talk about that's going down here. And it would be the state of Florida. It would be the state of Florida. And it would be black folk in the state of Florida on this bull jive out here wilding in these HBCU streets. I mean, the sad part about it is what's going on at BCU is another addition into the niggatry that happened within these HBCUs. It's not a good look. It don't help the branding. It don't help to sell people to come to the HBCUs, the top tier talent. It don't help. But they out here doing it anyway. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the saga between Ed Reed and the Bethune-Cookman University. Ed Reed was his contract was ratified, nullified. They was torn up. They said no, they're not going to allow him to coach the BCU team this upcoming season because of a series of videos that he put out ranting about the conditions, the horrible conditions at BCU. Professor Carl Tone Jones, Patrick Irvin, we in the building. What's going on, fellas?
Yo, what's good, brother? You got us on a Friday night, man. You know,
Man,
I normally be cruising. No, I'm just joking.
I'm not. I do normally be in my car driving around looking at the air.
yeah, I usually be working on some videos anyway, so might as well, might as well. But I appreciate y'all joining me, and we got something good to talk about. So I have audio I have audio from Roland Martin's show, him interviewing the BCU president, Ed Reed, and players from BCU. Now it's like hour worth of audio that I compiled. I'm not gonna do it all, but we doing this breakdown style. So we're gonna play a bit of him talking with the president, gonna give our thoughts, gonna play a bit of him talking with Ed Reed, give our thoughts, play a bit of him talking to the players, give our thoughts, and overall sum it up. But it's a messed up situation what's going on. So let me give you some context if you don't know. So late December, Ed Reed was it was agreed upon, I guess, a gentleman's agreement that he will become the next head coach at Bethune-Cookman. And by Saturday, January 21st, Ed Reed announced via his Ed Reed Foundation, his Instagram, that BCU, his relationship with BCU has soured. He would not be the new head coach at BCU, and this is due to videos that Ed Reed released. So apparently, through social media, people was trolling him and calling him, saying he was mudding the campus. Basically, he was using the BCU name, he was using the HBCU, he was using the brand, and that triggered him. So he went live and it was laced with curse words. It wasn't the best look. I agree. It wasn't the best look. But it needed to be said. I ain't mad at him for saying it because I probably would have said it too. But he released a series of videos talking about the conditions, and some of it had rap music in the background. So the president was like, "This is a Christian university," but y'all had Glorilla performing. Oh yeah, hey, I did my research. Y'all had Glorilla performing during y'all homecoming step show. So don't tell me it's a Christian university and you mad that Ed Reed had rap music playing in the background when y'all invited Glorilla to perform at y'all homecoming step show. So don't tell me you're a Christian university. But basically, the president is saying Ed Reed's behavior is a violation of the agreement that they set upon and the morals and the values of BCU. So he will not be allowed to be the president. And from that, the fallout is happening. And not only Ed Reed, but the students and the players are exposing the horrible conditions. They are existing in mold and mildew, rats, roaches, torn down conditions. Things are soaked, watery, everything, and they're exposing their grievances through social media. Recently, Monday, the students had a protest in support of Ed Reed, and Ed Reed is getting a lot of support from different people around the country. And he's also getting some opposition from people in the media like Shannon Sharp. So Ed Reed and Shannon Sharp had a back and forth. Still not a good look because black folk fighting again, right? And then I have some audio from an ex teammate of Ed Reed's and and an alumni and ex football player. He was, I guess, he was one of the BCU's best football players. He's in the Black College Football Hall of Fame. Stevie Baggs. I have audio from Stevie Baggs giving his opinion between what's going on with Ed Reed, because he and Ed Reed had a back and forth through social media, and so it's a lot of things that's going on. Basically, black folk fighting again, but it's all due to some niggatry. So this is what we getting into. So I'm gonna start off with audio of Roland Martin. I'm not gonna play the whole segment, but Roland Martin and the president of the BCU. Then we're gonna talk about it.
That caused a lot of consternation among HBCU folks and Bethune-Cookman folks, because he was highly critical of the university practices there, was complaining about conditions of the university, trash and things along those lines. And when he made the announcement on Saturday that he was not going to be the head football coach, students, then football players, launched a petition that they signed asking that he be returned, be hired as head football coach. Today, there was a rally on campus from students complaining about other conditions at Bethune-Cookman. This is not the first time the university has had controversy. They had significant financial issues, almost lost their accreditation, and many have said that the problem there is its board of trustees. Alumni are engaged in a lawsuit with the board of trustees. It's a lot of things that are going on there. And so what is the current state of Bethune-Cookman? What is the administration saying about what took place with today's protest? Joining us right now is the interim president of Bethune-Cookman, Dr. Lawrence Drake. Dr. Drake, glad to have you here on Roland Martin Unfiltered. And so there's several things that I want to cover over these next two segments. And so let's just walk through this. Ed Reed said he did not want to step down. He was not pulling out. Whose decision was it for him not to become the head coach? Was it you, the interim president, or was it the board of trustees?
It was the interim president. It was my decision.
It was your decision?
Yes.
And so why did you make that decision not to move forward with Ed Reed?
So we, as you know, about Sunday, a week ago, well, let me back up. Actually, starting in December, we were working on a contract for naming Ed Reed as the head coach. I interviewed Ed, and I had three important things that I asked him to ensure that he was willing to do as part of becoming part of the Wildcat family. One was, I needed him to really understand that we were a Christian institution, that behavior and character were clearly our priorities. And I asked him if that was okay with him. Could he abide by that? Could he, position himself as a role model for our student athletes as well as for the university itself? He indicated he would. Second question I asked is, well, great, I'm glad you're willing to do that. I need to know if you're also willing to build the kind of program that will allow you, because you've not been a coach before, this is an opportunity for you to be a head coach your first time. The university is giving you an opportunity to do that. And therefore, we want to surround you with the kind of people that can draw up the X and O's and help you become a stronger coach. He said, I get that, and I'm willing to do that. The third thing is, I said, this is not University of Miami, and it's not the NFL. We just came through 2 hurricanes, $6 million worth of damage. Much of what we've been working on for the last year and a half is improvements not only to the university's infrastructure, but also a long-term investment plan. We have about $100 million that we need to invest in the university over the next several years. We said to him, look, you're going to become part of that. Are you open to helping us do that and build the program? He said yes to that. So when we saw the first video criticizing the university and saying, well, it's trashy and my office is dirty and all that, first of all, he was an employee of the university and he had not an office. When the last staff moved out, we started renovating that building. Everything from the coach's room.
See, it's funny. Ed Reed had not been hired as the head coach. He's not on the staff. He doesn't have an office, but y'all got him recruiting players.
He said in the last coaches meeting that he slept in what would be the head coach's office. So y'all letting somebody that's not an employee sleep on campus.
Right. And I just want to show y'all something real quick before we go further because he talking about their Christian institution. So, I don't be lying, right? I try not to say, I try to only talk about what I know, right? So, a Christian institution. That's real Christian, ain't it? Who is that? This is Christian? Is this Christian?
I'm actually watching that right now, like the actual, and she got some non-traditional black folk on the stage dancing with her.
I'm just saying.
And we all know she don't make Christian music.
Rick Ross ain't Christian. Trina ain't Christian. Terrence J, he played the line. This one of these new rappers that ain't Christian. Desi Banks, come on. Yeah, okay. These, they not. I don't really know their names, but yeah, they not. They ain't. This ain't Christian material. So
and hold on, let's keep in mind, this is October, November of last year,
this
2022. This
right.
is like a month or two before Ed Reed.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's before they lost the FAMU too.
Ouch.
Yeah, I said it. Yeah, I said it. So, but I just wanted to show y'all how Christian they was, for their homecoming. So, but back to the president.
Rooms to the other places. We had given him some permission that he really took to the next level. First of all, he wasn't authorized to even take video. He wasn't authorized to do any of those things, but he did them anyway. The university had to take responsibility for that because it happened. But quiet as kept, that isn't the kind of behavior that we would expect. And then the expletives and those kinds of things in that first video, you might call that an aberration. And I would say it could be. And you have to be a forgiving individual. But when you have this much damage, you look at the gym and you look at this video and you look at it critically. But I would invite anyone to come to our campus because all parts of our campus don't look that way. We are really trying to work hard to clean it up. And given the fact that, again, we suffered 2 hurricanes back to back, and because of supply chain issues, because most people in Florida, particularly Central Florida, are still recovering, I have people from my staff living on our campus because their homes were destroyed. Ed didn't take those things into account.
Dr. Hold tight 1 second. Continue our conversation with Dr. Lawrence Drake, who was the interim president at Bethune-Cookman. Dr. Drake, you were talking about the conditions, him not being allowed to shoot video on campus. What was it the second video? What was the final straw? What caused it where you made the decision that we're not moving forward with Ed Reed as coach?
I think the final straw was actually the 3rd or 4th video, one with the background music being booties, butts, and boobs, and hoes. And, we have 65% of our campus is female. And my view is that we are trying to build young men.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. To my lip smacks, Drake.
No, he said booties, butts, boobs, and hoes. Did he say hoes?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
So he forgot to censor that one.
Because he Christian. Oh, okay. And he smack his lips.
Okay.
I think hoes is in the Bible.
Respect black women. We're trying to build a culture where they understand that people can say whatever they want to say, but we think you can do anything respectfully. And when we think about the culture that we're trying to build, that we have companies and partners like Disney and some of our other partners calling saying, what are you going to do about that? We can't support that kind of image. And of course, they're one of our biggest sponsors for the Classic.
So you're saying Disney, officials with Disney called you complaining about Ed Reed and saying we can't support Bethune-Cookman if he is going to represent the university?
They didn't say we can't. They questioned what we were going to do. And I think that was an appropriate way to approach it. But they weren't the only.
So were they implying that they would pull support if he continued as head coach?
I think that as a leader, you have to make the decision. And if they are inquiring, they have a vested interest. They believe in the image that they want to project. And you have to think, what are the possible outcomes of you continuing to do what you're doing? But here's the bigger point. And
that's what That's the part I wanted y'all to hear. I wanted everybody to hear him say that. So I football. We look, man, look. What's crazy is the first thing come to my mind is when Georgia won a national championship, right? They released audio of Kirby Smart, his pregame speech. He profaned. I ain't gonna lie. It was a fire speech. It was a fire speech. Now, good speech, but um, profane laced, way worse than what Ed was going in. But I think this is more about BCU's pride being hurt. Let's just call it what it is. It's BCU's pride being hurt that they were exposed for the conditions that they have. Because according to the students and the parents and some of the alumni, they've been ignored for so long. Because all of these conditions were there before Ed Reed got there. They were there before he got there. So, I mean, could he have put the video out in a different way? Yeah, he could have, but he didn't. It came out the way it came out, and it needed to come out. I don't think he should be fired. I think BCU's pride is hurt, and this is their retaliation to their pride being hurt because not only the President Drake, but Reggie Theus acting like one of them as well. So, but it's the board, it's some of the administration, Reggie Theus, President Drake. They are against Ed Reed, and they butt hurt that they've been exposed for the conditions. I mean, like, what have you all been doing to make the conditions better? You got players talking about their players and students are existing in mold. And then he's one piece of the clip. It's not mold, it's mildew. Oh, yeah.
Because that's better.
Yeah. So
it's healthier. The funny is one of the things that I see with this is you have bourgeois Negroes who did not recognize that Ed Reed was not a bourgeois. He was rich, but he wasn't bourgeois. And the way that's typically handled is if you remember Drumline, the movie, when they kept talking about when the president of the university kept scrutinizing the brother that was the professor that was running the drum line or running the band.
Yeah, the bald head dude. The bald head brother.
Well, no. It's the brother that the actual brother that was actually the professor that was the doctor that was
the band director.
The band director, right?
Gotcha. Orlando Jones. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Right, Orlando Jones. And one of the things that I noticed when I saw that is the whole idea of what it looks like. You know what I'm saying? And I recognize that especially when we talk to bourgeois black people, they really don't give a damn about the internal mechanisms. It's like watching a clock that's broke, but I'm gonna shine it up and it's gonna look good. It don't work, but it look good. And I want the whole world to see this big shiny clock and look at it and think of us in a prestigious way, but the shit don't work. And we're not even concerned about fixing the mechanisms. All we care about is if this work. Ed Reed came in and said, hold on, man, the clock don't work. And he showed people behind the wall of the clock. He pulled up the glass, he pulled it over, opened the door, and the mechanisms was all over the place. And that's where you're talking about in terms of their embarrassment, because it's like the emperor has no clothes. They got exposed. And that's the real reason why they didn't finalize his deal. Hey. And it makes everybody look bad. Reggie Theus as the athletic director. And because the attention didn't go into straightening that situation out. The president, because when you read some of the comments that was in that particular video that he shot with Roland Martin, there were people who said, I was a student at BCU. And one of the things I noticed was my financial aid was messed up all the time, but when I walked past the parking lot, it was full of Mercedes Benz and BMWs. So, you know, we kind
I
of
mean,
know.
but that's the typical HBCU store, right? But this is let's be real, man. They got scared that for one, they got butt hurt that they was exposed. For two, they got scared that them white folk was gonna pull their money out. That's why he was like, well, Disney called. Disney didn't tell them to do anything. Disney just asked what you gonna do about it. He took it upon himself. What Disney told me. What they if they saying that they want me to fire him, so I might well go ahead. See, because Roland Martin asked him a direct question, and he gave him a whole ass answer.
Yeah, and that's kind of my approach with it. It's two things. One, I think I when I first heard it, I was like, all right, you could have cleaned this up a little bit. But after thinking about it, I'm like, nah, Ed Reed did it the way it needed to be done. Because Deion Sanders did it clean. And we glossed over it. It kind of, you know, people didn't really go at Jackson State, and at this point they kind of had moved on. If Ed Reed had handled it the same way Deion handled it, he would have got the same. It would have played out the same
The
way as
conditions
it
wouldn't
played
have
out
got better.
Right now, this university is forced to deal with it. And the problem they're having is the same problem we have in the black community with a lot of other things, right? I don't want to fix it. I just don't want to know it's there. Like, I know it's a problem, but don't show it to me.
Yeah.
The fuck you doing? And so even with that, like, I'm looking at this motherfucker talking about what the president. I'm listening to him, and Joe, you did it right, man. With the master said, I was like, yo, if this ain't some coonery type, buffoonery type shit, I don't even think Disney called, if we being honest.
bruh, I'm with you. I think he made that up.
Right. This motherfucker is he talking, and because he didn't have the balls to stand on something that they actually said. He was just like, well, they reached out.
Right.
Oh, motherfucker, that could be an email. Maybe you sent them a message.
Yeah,
maybe
they
you sent
asked
the
me what we was gonna do.
Disney
So I took it
vacations.
upon myself to fire him. What?
Right. Like, but even to that, like we always talking about black universities, and this is a conversation we had in one of the breakdowns, right? We were talking about how HBCUs are they're almost all of the big ones are doing their damnedest to become the black version of a PWI. That's what this is. This dude is basically saying, yes, we're a black institution, and you should entrust your black children to us, but we are beholden to white zaddy. I learned that word from PC and Joe, by the way. But anyway.
No, not me.
Take full responsibility for that.
But that's what it sounds like, right? Like that's
not what it sounds like. That's exactly what it. You heard him. That's exactly what it is, bruh. That's exactly what it is. Hold on. Let's play it again. We gotta listen to him say it
and
again.
that people can say whatever they want to say, but we think you can do anything respectfully. And when we think about the culture that we're trying to build,
let me back it up a bit.
Was it the second video? What was the final straw? What caused it? Where you made the decision that we're not moving forward with Ed Reed as coach?
I think the final straw was actually the third or fourth video, one with the background music being booties, butts, and boobs, and hoes. And, we have 65% of our campus is female. And my view is that we are trying to build young men to respect black women. We're trying to build a culture where they understand that people can say whatever they want to say, but we think you can do anything respectfully. And when we think about the culture that we're trying to build, that we have companies and partners like Disney and some of our other partners calling saying, what are you going to do about that? We can't support that kind of image. And of course, they're one of our biggest sponsors for the Classic.
So you're saying Disney, officials with Disney called you complaining about Ed Reed and saying we can't support Bethune-Cookman if he's going to represent the university.
They didn't say we can't. They questioned what we were going to do, and I think that was an appropriate way to approach it. But they weren't the only.
So were they implying that they would pull support if he continued as head coach?
I think that as a leader, you have to make the decision, and if they if
the
they
fuck
are
shit.
inquiring.
Anyways, but even to that, right? He support you. You hear the support he gave for Disney.
Mm-hmm.
That was the correct way to handle it. The way they handled it. They probably didn't, but even beyond that, so 65% of your community, of your students are women. So what are we saying that hoes can only be? I got a question. I'm gonna let y'all finish that thought however y'all want to finish it. I got a question. When Glorilla performed, did she perform "Fuck Nigga Free"?
Most likely, that was the top song. That was a hit song at the time.
So I'm and I don't know. Maybe Glorilla got a maybe she got a Christian version of "Fuck Nigga Free" that I'm not aware of. You know, fornicating sin free or something. I don't know. But are we not concerned about the image and the self-esteem and whatever the black males on your campus that's got to, because every last single one of Glorilla songs is degrading to black men. Every last single one of them. I haven't heard a single song she's put out that's not degrading to black men in some way. And you yourself took it upon yourself to not say ass, not say breast, but you didn't have a problem saying hoes. In fact, you came back to the list to say hoes. You had left the list when you said booties, butts, and boobs, and you went on, and then you came back to say hoes. So I gotta believe that you don't have a problem with hoes. I don't know. I'm gonna leave all of these half-finished statements, the thoughts out there for y'all to finish them as
The
you
name
see
of
fit.
Jamal Bryant, Pastor Jamal Bryant. These hoes ain't loyal,
Bruh,
so
I will never advocate for sending your child to BCU while that type of fuckery is in leadership.
Well, I think what's worse is you saw how the Stephen and Fetches aspect of it. Disney scared jump, and he said how high. In fact, Disney didn't. Disney gets to be clean with this. Disney, because he said they questioned him, but Disney didn't give him any direction. All this shit fell on his lap.
Mm-hmm.
And as interim president, he's not even going to be there to, and I don't know if we're going to get to it, but dude is set up for.
Ed Reed got into it. Yeah, he might not even be there. He the interim president. He might not even be hired to. He might be a he might be a placeholder. So this reminds me of what happened at FAMU when Dr. Elmira Mangum was let go. Elmira Mangum was she was the president. I forgot the year, but she was the president of FAMU. She was a good president, doing a good job, but she rubbed people the wrong way because she didn't make. I was in a meeting. And this white dude said that she was fired because she rubbed people the wrong way. She didn't make friends.
Mm-hmm.
Did y'all hire her to run an institution properly to make sure children are educated, or did y'all hire her to be friends?
They hired her to be friends. That's what NPC knows is better than all us. The bureaucracy that goes into higher education.
Well, look, as a person who's a graduate from an institution to where a spineless interim president is continued to be put in place and then eventually made president. When you have that in place, of course it's controlled by the board and all the other people, because look, I mean, by the powers that be, it's controlled. It's not a HBCU, it's a WHBCU now.
So, John, let me ask you a question. Is this the end of the president's commentary?
He got the president got a lot more. But I do want to go. This all I wanted to play from him. Then I was going to want to go to Ed Reed.
Okay, so I want to speak on the president for a second.
Go ahead. Yeah, do your thing.
The president spent the whole time. I watched his interview, and the president spent the whole time spin doctoring this whole conversation away from the fact that they were that they didn't really have grounds to dismiss Ed Reed. So he went into conversations about scholarships. He went into conversations about the alumni association. He went into conversations about everything else. He skipped dilly the whole conversation. We're not addressing the fact that he didn't really have grounds to dismiss Ed Reed. Now, if you want to say that Ed Reed violated certain personality clauses or whatever, okay. But as Pat said earlier, you know, we've learned that when black men take these positions and they're quiet about certain things, they get thrown under the bus. And so, from what we saw, Ed probably responded to what he saw what happened with Dion, and he probably and rightfully so. And I bet you, I'm willing to bet he brought these concerns to the president and to the board before he came public with all this other stuff, and got no results.
I mean, the students had been doing that. According to the students, according to alumni, according to parents, they all had been speaking up about this. They all had been complaining. They all had it is not mildew, it's mold. It doesn't matter. They should not be exist. The players are talking about their and we're gonna listen to the players tell their story, but their helmets, their pads, their gloves, their shoes, the stuff that they're using. People students were showing mold on their hats, on their clothes and stuff. Like, the conditions are not safe for the students, kind of like what was going on up at Howard with them students staying up in that mold in the dorms and stuff. Like, the students are the most important factor in this university thing. The most important factor. Without the students, you have no university. The students have to be the highest priority. The safety of the students, the quality. What happened to quality of education? You can't get quality of education if my quality of life is threatened.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this, Joe. In higher education is anti-black men, anti-black male.
Well, we know
every
that.
level.
Yeah.
So if anybody gets thrown under the bus or anybody is treated with a lack of concern, it's going to be the black males on campus. And I'm telling you that, let me shut up now, but I'm just saying, higher education is morphed into an anti-black male environment. And
well, he definitely tried to trigger the black women on campus with that whole I'm looking out for y'all shtick.
Right. No, they not looking out for themselves. Stop it. You invited Glorilla. Stop it.
Right. And that's why I point out Glorilla's records, and also point out, you know, that there's a, like, these institutions don't need to be taking sides like that, right? It should be a community-based thing. If you disrespect any member of our community as a HBCU, then we done with it. But that respect has to go both ways. You can't say he was listening to booties, butts, boobs, and hoes in the background of a video where he was talking about issues that we have that he's cleaning up out of his time that we not paying him for, and out of dollars out of his pocket. And then a month earlier, you had Glorilla up there, I'm sure, on stage talking about fuck nigga free. So, like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Even like, and this is where I go back to, Joe. Like I said, I'm tired of the fair and balanced conversation. Fuck all that. We HBCUs have been fucked up for decades. We know that they fucked up, and every time something happens, we get the same excuses from those people that are trying to defend them. We know your argument. We don't need to hear from you no more. The president basically got up here and in my opinion, made the whole situation worse.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
Of course.
He got into the alumni too and said that he talked about that shit. Now, all the people that be walking around wearing the BCU sweatshirts and this, that, and the other, that they participate less than, the alumni participate less than 1%.
Look, when we did our breakdown of Claude Anderson talk about HBCUs, what did I say? What did I tell y'all about? It was a cycle. I called it the cycle of what? The cycle of fucked up. What is it? I'll explain it again. Cycle of fucked up. The students get no support from the teachers. The teachers get no support from the staff. Staff get no support from the administration. Administration get no support from the board. Board get no support from the alumni. Alumni get no support from the community. Community get no support from the university. None of the people, nobody is supporting anybody because everybody mad at everybody because the messed up relationships, the way we are relating to each other. Look, these HBCUs operate on some nigga shit. Let's just be real about it.
Mm.
A lot of these no, we ain't saying all of them, but a lot of these HBCUs operate on some nigga shit.
Man, fuck all that too. I'm saying it's enough of them that we can say all of them.
And most of them, we know it's most of them. We know it's most of them.
If it's more than 70%, I'm saying all. God damn it. Because that's the way that people love generalizing stuff when it's not them, when they on the other side of it. But then when something shines the spotlight on their group, they want to do the not all no, that's why when I criticize the black community, I'm a part of that, not all of them. Because if all of the big ones, point me 3 or 4 big, point me 3 big HBCUs that ain't fucked up, and I'll rescind and apologize. But I know you can't because I didn't research all the big ones. So it might be some little one somewhere that's got 1,000 students or less that got their shit together, but they still paying the tax for the big ones.
Yep.
And as long as everybody's paying that tax, it's everybody. It's the same with the black community. I gotta walk down the street. If I walk down the street in a hoodie with a cap on, I look like a goon because I gotta pay the tax for the goons. So it's all of us. If it affects everybody, it's everybody until we make it not affect everybody. So no, it's all HBCUs. And everybody that went to a HBCU, myself included, everybody that graduated from an HBCU, that's not me, has a responsibility to fix the narrative, the problem, and the internal structures that allow the problem to continue.
Yep.
Hey man.
Yep.
She
Hey,
need to drop
there
the
it
mic.
is. So let's see what Ed Reed got to say about this. Let's move forward. Let's see.
It's lower at a lot of universities. Years old.
Let's find it.
Every student got home safe, and we had.
Shut up, boy.
I've been researching it. Turn my phone on.
Get to the beginning of it.
So we changed our. It's called BCUAA. Alumni. There's a faction.
Next Thursday or Friday works. One of those works. We'll do it.
I appreciate it, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, my producer, we're waiting to hear from you. Appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
All right. Thank you.
All right, folks, you heard from the interim president, Dr. Drake. Now you get to hear directly from Ed Reed, Hall of Famer. Ed, glad to have you on Roland Martin Unfiltered. You got a chance to hear what the president had to say on this show.
Hold on one second.
Your response.
I want to draw attention to the fact that the president tried to position this as if they was doing Ed Reed a favor.
Right.
Look, right. All right, so yeah. Before we let Ed talk, I forgot to say this earlier. That's a good point. Ed Reed didn't need this job. Come on, man. We're talking about the greatest safety of all time, the greatest safety in NFL history. He has businesses going, he has a cigar line, he has all types. I follow him on Instagram, and we homeboys. Me and Ed Reed home. In my mind, we homeboys, but you know what I'm saying. But it's crazy. It's crazy that this is happening like this. What if Disney would have came out like, "Hey man, we ain't tell y'all to say that. We ain't say that. We ain't tell y'all to do that, bro. We ain't do that, bro. So don't even put us in that, bro.
I think it's coming.
Hey, look at my picture with my homeboy Ed Reed.
I think if the storyline continues and Disney start catching flack for it, they most certainly will.
Yeah,
nah, we ain't got nothing to do with that.
Yeah, yeah, but it's like he didn't need this. Well, he wasn't in the position where he needed the job or he needed the money. He was genuinely there for the children. You could see the passion in him. Who cares that he curses? Who cares? Disney, look, Disney is not gonna miss out on that classic money. Let's stop it. Come on, man. All that money that gets spent in Orlando that weekend. You think Disney gonna pull out of the Florida Classic? Really? Come on, man. Stop it.
Well,
Stop it.
well, what it was is what he probably meant to say was as he was getting up off his knees and Disney was walking out the door.
Hey, well, wipe it off. That's probably why he was smacking his lips.
Oh
Bruh.
no.
Yeah, but Ed Reed on the Ed Reed.
I mean, I honestly, I was honestly at the spa, Roland. And when I turned my phone on, that's when I received your text. I didn't hear everything the president had to say. And he's an interim president. I don't feel like he probably would be the person even that would be here. There's a term that is used, you know, with coaches get fired rather than firing head coaches. I've been around this a good bit, man. I'm a businessman, and he's probably just a scapegoat to things, man. And you know, I just woke up to this, man. I honestly, just the first time that I was able to relax. I've been in Daytona for 3 straight weeks recruiting kids. I have 3 kids.
Ed Reed is not hired as a head coach. The contract is not complete. He's not the head coach. But you're letting them, right? Once again, you're letting them recruit for 3 weeks.
And even to that, the question, if Ed Reed, if you made the decision to terminate Ed Reed, why did you do it the way you did it, making it look like Ed Reed quit?
Right. Right.
That broken clock. Broken clock, bro.
Right. Because he said it himself. He said it himself. We heard Drake. We played it twice. He made the decision himself based off the videos and the Disney call. That's what he said. He said he made the decision.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. All right.
Dominique Ponder, Jeremy Greaves, and Jordan Johnson, who are they in school, man. They already in school because they believed in me. Their parents believed in me, man. There's 30 kids that was here on Friday I was with when I got the phone call that they did not want me here. You understand? And I still gave $2,400 out of my own pocket for these young men to go host these kids. And I didn't tell the parents until Saturday morning when Reggie Theus sent the letter to my assistant, who was not hired at the time because none of my people were hired, and saying that tell Ed to withdraw his name. He wanted me to say this. I have the email. You want me to say that I'm withdrawing my name so you can save yourselves.
See? What you said they was doing to White Master PC again? Why was he smacking his lips again?
He's getting off his knees.
I'm just saying.
Getting off his knees.
I'm not here for nothing but these kids. I apologize for the unprofessionalism. This is what I've been teaching these young men. What these young men and young women did today is for them, man. That's powerful, man. That's old school things, man. I'm not.
Because even with that, right? A professional is somebody that gets paid to do a job, right? Football, professionalism differs per profession.
Right.
Football coaches curse. A football coach cursing and being passionate and being aggressive is not unprofessional. Now, if he was an office worker, yes, I get that. Right? Like if he was support staff, if he was the water boy even. But like again, there isn't one set of rules for what it means to be a professional. If I hired a football coach and he was straight-laced in a business suit and he talked proper and he didn't exude any sort of emotion or any sort of passion or anything else like that, that's a bad hire. Because more than likely the players aren't going to respond to him. So this has always been something that has bothered me. As somebody that used to do professionalism courses, professionalism varies depending on the profession we're talking about. Generally, we're talking about office settings, and people that are wearing suits and white collar jobs and things of that nature. Yes, a football coach is not in that world. Head coaches, professionalism, in my mind, with the way that I understand the term, it means something different. So just because he's cursing doesn't mean that he's not being a profession. His profession is football, and
Man,
football players, that's how they are.
look, when the president was like, "We're not Alabama, we're not these other, we're not Miami, we're not the NFL." Look, stop it, stop it. Like you, everything you saying, I echo everything you saying. Stop it, President Drake. Stop it, stop it, stop it, stop it, stop it.
There'll never be those universities as long as they operate like this.
Right,
I was
right.
just thinking,
Football coach. Look,
football,
if
they ain't gonna
look,
never get
let's
there.
say if Ed Reed had a went 12-0 and they won a championship and he had this rant, you think they'll be saying the same thing?
Mm-mm.
And
Because
listen,
the money will be there. Because the money will be there. So the thing is, okay, he wasn't there long enough to have results. But we all know that football coaches curse, first of all. Not all of them, but we all know football coaches curse. And even the ones who don't really curse, they curse too. The coaches that you think are nice, they curse a whole lot. And sometimes they get caught cursing in public. Yes, they do. But guess what? They don't get fired for cursing. They get fired for lack of production. You didn't hire him. You didn't hire you didn't hire him to like be a missionary. You hired him to win football games. And look, you should have done your research. You know who Ed Reed is. Like Ed Reed said somewhere in the interview. That speech that he gave at that Miami Florida State game his senior year in Miami. That speech he gave at halftime, Miami was winning. He gave a old passionate, heartfelt, curse late speech, like Coach K curse. Like all these coaches, they curse, they curse. You fire a coach for him not pushing those players to be their best. You fire a coach for not showing up. You fire a coach for not coaching. You fire a coach for being subpar. You don't fire a coach for caring about the kids and cursing a bit. Oh no, Disney called because he won't have to put out no more videos if you step to him and be like, all right, well, guess what? We're gonna help you clean up because according to the students and stuff, because they gonna call out the president too. Ed Reed and them, he initiated the campus cleanups. There was no picking up trash, no campus cleanups. You got crackheads walking through the campus.
Hmm.
That's not safe to have crackheads walking through the campus. Don't know crackheads walk through FAMU. I can guarantee you that crackheads live
Except the
all
ones that's
around
enrolled
FAMU.
there.
Yeah, right, right. But it's not
But
because look, I just spent 8 hours on the campus today on the set today. I just spent 8 hours on there. Not one crackhead walked through. Crackheads do not walk through FAMU campus, and we have no gates.
I think
Why?
another thing, another aspect too. This is going to be a stain to HBCUs because now all the HBCUs are going to start being under scrutiny, just basically because of what we're seeing right now. A lot of them, in terms of, sucking Disney dick. I'm sorry, my inner Pat came out, but
I'll leave it out for YouTube. You good? This since this page, I got to remind too. This page run, we can say that, but for YouTube, if I get the clip, I know how to bleep. You'll get that hard ass bleep too.
but but it really speaks to who runs and controls the climate at HBCUs. It speaks to the fact that, and it's something we've known, but it's quiet. It's like the worst kept one of the worst kept secrets. But as long as nobody talks about it, we're going to just keep moving and pretending that the shit ain't happening. But this really speaks to who runs and operates the school, because I'm willing to wager that more than the board, more than the alumni, and an embarrassment of people who actually work at that school for whatever was said, it was that conversation that he or that contact he had with Disney that actually influenced this decision more than anything else. Because that's the one thing he emphasized. And then when it come down to talk about, well, he was playing a video with these songs in the background, that's some of the weakest shit I've ever heard. I can't, like for a fucking for a coach on walking around and come on, man. Come on, man. This is, but and it speaks and it looks the spineless jellyfish of a president,
What
interim. He knew that he was going to take the. They probably told him, listen, we'll give you a little something on the way out, if you take this hit for us.
what was that? The little the right wing white lady that they invited to BCU graduation one year is the one that it was a white lady.
You're not talking about Tommy Lauren.
Nah. It was an older white lady. I can't remember her name, but she was a racist white wing white lady. Nah.
Okay. I can
But anyway, but then but it's the same. It's the same university that invited that far right wing lady to the campus against the students' request at their graduation, and they all turned their back on her during the graduation. So it's the same school. So yeah, more back to Ed Reed though.
Here to bash this university. I know what Dr. McLeod has built. I've been researching it since they called me. In 1904, when she started this university with 5 young kids, it was built on education. I wasn't here to bash this university. I saw all the things that were going on. I have the tapes. My people and I have been shooting the documentary for the longest. I'm not here to bash Bethune-Cookman. I was still trying to get back to the job today. I'm a foundation. I've been running for 20 years, man. 20 years to work with kids. I built a park in my own neighborhood. You understand? Because kids are dying. This ain't right. This ain't right, man. For Mr. Lawrence Drake, Dr. Drake, to come on and talk about me in that way. I knew this was a Christian school. I knew that. I'm a Christian man. I know I played music, but do you see, he said he walked campus every day, right? I don't believe that. Because if you walk campus every day, you'll see what these young folk wear to school, man. You will see this. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? They worse than the songs. You have crackheads walking through campus, man. There's no security for these young women and men. I'm not trying to bash the school. We were picking up trash when I was screen recorded. I didn't post that. Somebody screen recorded me and put that out there because they said I was mutting the school. I'm not mutting the school. We're picking up trash. At the time, you telling me I'm mutting the school. I'm on the ground grabbing trash from under trees behind bushes because my football team was acting too cute. Don't interview me. Interview them kids. Interview the team. Interview these young women and men. I'm not here for, man, I got a 14-year-old son who I've been missing his stuff for 3 weeks. I'm tired, man. This is exhausting, man.
Conditions ain't there. Like I said, they initiated the cleanup. So we might not get to that part, but he talked about Shaq and other billionaires, not millionaires, but billionaire friends. Because come on, man. Look, bro, this is the greatest safety in NFL history. He got friends. They got friends. They got friends.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the biggest persons with Shaq was lining up to donate money. Like he had people line up to help make the facilities better. All right, you got embarrassed. Take it on the chin and clean it up. They're making it worse by doing this. What they're doing now, it's making the whole situation worse because, oh man, we mad that Ed Reed, and then you're gonna try to say Disney. Man, if I was Disney, Hey, dog, don't. Hey, you coloreds, don't bring me into your little colored business. I didn't tell you to fire him. Okay, all I need y'all to do is play y'all little colored football game and get me my money. Don't bring me into this. But to try with Disney, well, Disney called it. That's what I'm gonna do about it. And I love the question, Roland. So Disney told you to fire him? What? I mean, no. Yeah, oh, you had to smack his lips. But yeah,
Yeah, he took it on the chin because that's the position he was in. But it was just like we had a situation here in Philadelphia back in 19, I believe it was 85. And it was the Move bombing on Osage Avenue,
It was
where
85.
they dropped the bomb on the, house and not only killed 11 of the 13 people who was in the house, 5 children, 6 adults, but they also destroyed 2 city blocks. And at the end of the day, the mayor of Philadelphia, a black man by the name of Wilson Good, took responsibility for that. But everybody knows, because I know people who know that he was sitting in a living room watching the shit happen on TV when it happened. And he had nothing to do with the actual bombing itself. But he knew that if he spoke up about that he was going to face a terrible wrath. So he took that on the chin. His reputation has been tarnished in this city since 1985. So this interim president, not as major a situation, but he took this situation because other people wanted him to take the fall because he's going to be a dismissible face after
of
this.
course, of
Once they let
course.
him go, they're not going to have to. And I hate the fact that I have to think of like Negroes, black people in particular, struggle in position of power because in those positions they're so short-sighted. They don't look at the big picture and don't see the fallout. What they deal with is the immediate rescue and survive type shit. But in terms of understanding the fallout from this, there you go. All they're thinking about right now is the next 5 minutes and not the next 5 years. And they're trying to survive this particular situation, but they're just throwing shit at the wall because they really don't have no plan or strategy for how they really want to deal with this because they dealt with it wrong from day one.
Right.
And they are going to, like, who would come in and be a coach there now of any prestige of anything?
But they
Who?
can find some sucker.
No, sucker, yeah, but who of quality is going to come
That
in and be a coach?
That's the
they're not
question.
gonna find nobody like of Ed Reed's caliber. I mean, not with that type of football knowledge. Obviously, we don't know what kind of coach he
Nah.
would have been, but
He has
Ed
pedigree,
Reed
though.
has great pedigree.
Right.
But I mean, but one of the things though of a good coach is to surround yourself with other good coaches. And he was who was that? I can't it slipped my mind, but it was one player, one player was like, yeah, he was finna go and be a part of Ed Reed's coaching staff. But come on, man, we know he could. Come on, we know he could put together a staff. We know that, like somebody of his stature, because he's like Dion, but without the charisma.
Hmm.
If you take away the charisma, because the same cachet that Dion has, Ed Reed has off of his game. The difference is just the charisma. Ed Reed is not as charismatic and out there and bombastic as Dion, but Ed Reed has the cachet as a football player and as a businessman. He's well respected. Like, you don't hear
But
bad stuff about Ed Reed.
but Ed Reed has something that Dion doesn't, or he not. I won't say Dion doesn't have it because he does have it. But you heard it in the interview, right? The passion.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Ed Reed and he wore his heart on his sleeve when he played. He
yeah,
would come to the post game press conferences still in pads in full gear.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Ed Reed is an extremely passionate individual, and that's something that you don't get to see as a black man. Black men don't get to see black men with that kind of passion very often, especially
right.
when they can channel it into something positive. Ed Reed, you think about this. Ed Reed in front of the entire nation broke down crying
Yep,
twice or a couple times
yep,
now.
yep,
Mm-hmm.
yep.
But we do get to see that part. we do get to see black men who are proud black men get broken down publicly all the time.
True. That is true. That's true.
And that's the thing that's probably the most disturbing part of this
Yeah.
whole situation.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Because we've seen it twice with two different styles of black black men who are proud black men, pro black men.
Also, you remember when you say that, when you saying specifically that, I can't think of the young man's name, but he's a social media influencer. He's a black guy that does food reviews for restaurants and food truck and restaurant tours. And when he do the food reviews, he can turn around on people's restaurants in 24 hours. The latest video was the black guy. He saw a random food truck in the street and he went to the food truck because a black man owned it. The food truck was shutting down, so he came back the next day. He got the food. He actually gave the dude like a $400 tip. He loved the food so much. Of course, he did his reviews. When I was looking at that video, it was 5 million videos on that review of him saying how good this man's food was in 24 hours. This man, he said that man didn't go to sleep that night because his Cash App and his phone kept ringing off to the total of $30,000. But then this same black man who was helping people turn around in restaurants through his food reviews, some black girl is trying to ruin his name and tarnish his reputation, trying to say he stole her idea. And it's crazy because the video I was watching is a black girl, it's a black lady rather, making a video saying it's sad. It's a black woman saying this. It's sad that when black men reach a certain level of prominence and they're positive and they're doing their things, it's always somebody coming and try to break them down. It's always. That's the sad. And it's always our own people. That Negro mindset can't get over. Keep telling y'all, niggas come in all shapes, forms, and fashions. And we're seeing it through this.
That mental side, man. That mental side is there.
Yeah,
so let's get to, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna second what PC said about them breaking down, and because this Ed Reed stuff, it does hit different than the Dion stuff because he's so passionate. Like it's kind of hard to watch and from the outside looking in. So, but that's all.
Yeah. So let's get to the players.
Roadblocks that got in the way, but again, the focus right now, Daytona, is just to have a conversation.
I am
him showing that what
got that,
yeah,
and moldy balls.
Your thoughts on when he gave you the news that that they were terminating him, and what do you want
this?
The administration
This is Roland Martin
to know,
talking to the players
as it relates to Ed Reed for you being remaining the head football coach at Bethune-Cookman.
All right, I got it. So the importance to that is that Coach Reed in 3 weeks has essentially done more than this entire administration and other program leads, like other head coaching staffs and whatnot. He's done more in 3 weeks than they have in like of the past 5 years.
That's how the player open up talking. This is out of the people's mouth who's experiencing what's going on at BCU. That's why I want to play this audio so y'all see we ain't just over here making up stuff, pulling that stuff out of our butt. This comes from the people there, the people who are experiencing this.
Things that, Coach Drake mentioned, saying that we didn't share helmets, we don't shower, or we actually have showers. We don't have showers. We don't have a locker room. We have to watch out where we put our stuff in the stadium locker room so it doesn't get wet and then get moldy, and then we got to practice in moldy stuff. Or when we go and put our stuff away, we put it in the shed, and then the shed gets wet from the rain, and then we got to practice in that moldy stuff. Moldy balls, moldy helmets. We share those moldy helmets too, and that gear.
Most of us had to buy our own Lysol and stuff to spray our. We had to clean our stuff ourselves. Once we get our gear from the equipment manager from that shed, it smelled bad. I remember the first time I opened my bag and most of the guys were just like, "What's going on?" We asked if we could, like, we asked for the basics. We asked if we could get stuff to spray our stuff down, and that probably didn't happen until like the very, very end.
Yeah, we got week 8 was when we got that.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure on week 5 was when we actually had the mold outbreak in our helmets and gear. And in my gloves alone, I didn't wear gloves at practice because it literally just smelled like the epitome of mold. Like I was just smelling a handful of mold. And what makes this even worse is that we had to deal with the conditions when we were displaced. That was even worse. And I know that Anthony was here for the entire world tour is what we call it as a nickname.
Yeah.
We would spend 16-hour days with the football team. 16 hours. I have the receipts on that because I have the old screenshots of our schedule. And we would go from 8 o'clock all the way until 10:30.
Our off day would be considered. So one of the bus drives was considered as an off day. So we were on the bus for
16 hours.
Yep, 16 hours stuck on there. By the time
that's worse than high school.
God damn! I thought it was laws against, like rules against that.
That's worse than high school.
But you know what? And this is like I've been going ham on HBCUs for the past 10 years, hardcore. And this is why, because I'm not surprised by none of this, because I've heard this before. I've seen it before. I've trained athletes, speed coaching, that are going to school at HBCUs and listen to the stories they tell me about what's going on campus. Like and this is why I said I'm tired of hearing from the people that want to defend them. There's no defense for the type of shit they going through.
Gotta clean. We gotta do better. I mean, we gotta do better. You gotta start putting our money, time, and resources back into HBC. I know I got to put more money in the family.
Nah. You know what? Don't put money into HBCUs because that it's not gonna go to the infrastructure need to be fixed first.
Well, look. Well, see, that's one of the things that they talked about with that Roland Martin talked about with President Drake, that the alumni donations dropped from like 11% to like 3% over a certain amount of time. And going back to the cycle of fucked up, people don't want to give back because they're disenchanted by the time they leave.
Right. Let's talk about that because it's easy, and I've done it myself, so I understand it. It's easy, and in a lot of cases, it's justified to criticize the alumni and the students for not giving back. But as an institution, you have to analyze and understand what that means to students that graduated from your program don't want to give anything back to your program. You have to think about what that means. And I don't think any HBCUs are really doing that. And the ones that are just talking about it as an intellectual exercise and getting their dick sucked or they pussy ate. They not doing it in terms of actually fixing some shit, because the HBCUs keep plodding along doing the same goddamn thing. And so you got this system of fucked up, as you call it, where you got 50, 60, 70-year-old people pulling their pants down and rubbing their asses and balls and snatches and shit all in the faces of the students.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, we're better than you students. And remember, the staff and the board and all the adults, they don't have to live in it.
Nah, well, and they get to patronize half 6 to 65% of the university by giving them concerts with people who are not Christian performers and stuff of that nature. And so that keeps them quiet. The whole bread and circus shit. And it's just a despicable situation. I agree with Pat, because there was a time when I was like, people need to give back. And I still have a problem with people who rep HBCUs but don't hold them accountable for the stuff that's going on. I have a huge problem with that, because that's one of the biggest issues we have in the community now is we want to, floss and we want to front, but we don't want to be accountable. We want to do the childish shit, the fun and games part, but we don't want to do the adult part, which is cleaning up. And for people who probably looked at that situation and said Reed could have been more mature, I thought he was really being a man talking about doing the work to clean the shit up.
Man, look, if people who when you push the envelope, you get change. Like Pat said earlier, if he'd handled it more cordial or softer way, we wouldn't be here. When you push the envelope, you get change. Now BCU is on the national spot, and Roland Martin been on their ass. Now you're on the national spotlight. Now you're forced to do something about it.
Yeah, they get Roland a job.
Hey man, look here. So let's let the students continue real quick, then we'll wrap it up.
Time we got there, it was probably like, I want to say,
1:30.
Yeah, it was about 1. We got some food. And then after that, it was, we went to bed. Then the next morning we wake up, meetings and everything, go eat breakfast.
It's a normal day. We didn't just drive 16 hours and get there at 1:30.
President said that, look, Bethune-Cookman has faced a couple of hurricanes, that there are obviously financial issues, and he said that look, he walks the campus every single day, and he sees and hears what the students. And I said, well, what are you sharing with the students? How are you talking to those students? And he said, hey, we should do more of that. Of course, you heard him ask me to visit, and I said, look, I'll be happy to come do a town hall there, because it's abundantly clear. It's abundantly clear there is a disconnect between what he is saying and what y'all are saying. Go ahead.
So he said he's been here for under 2 years, just right under 2 years.
Right.
And since he's been here, I'm a freshman. I've been here since the last semester and this semester, so it's going on almost a year now. And I've never seen him walk. This is my first time seeing him on this. I've never seen him in person, in the flesh, walking on this campus. I've never spoke to him. I didn't even know that he was the interim president.
Anthony, haven't even ever seen him until we saw him at the Classics speaking at the banquet.
Yep.
That is when we first met him. On top of that, if he wants to really talk about how
why that nigga lying? Drake over there lying.
Great cat.
No, he know it. He know it. That's why he's smacking his lips.
So, typically the president's house, they get a house.
Yeah.
Is technically on campus. So if he goes out to the mailbox, he's walking on campus.
Right. When he go to his office. Yeah.
And it's just a bad look,
he comes on.
And what it speaks to, the reason why you have people that's upset is because the bourgeois Negroes, they don't like any member of the bourgeois boule class to look bad in front of white mommy and white daddy. And because Ed Reed is considered the greatest safety of all time, NFL safety of all time, and because he has a lot of respect because he does a lot of good work in the community. People are going to look at them from a perspective, a certain way, and they can't just pretend like this didn't happen and sweep it under the rug. White daddy kicked down the door and pulled his pants down, and told the president and the board to get on their knees.
His name is Drake.
So what happened was,
go ahead.
They gave him a happy ending, but but to these, like I said before, man, college campuses today, if you are a masculine brother who does not skirt it, who does not tuck his tail, who does not, change his tone when he talks, who lets his nuts hang, you become a target. And like Pat said, I've been in this environment for 13 years. In some environments newer than others. And I'm telling you, it'd be the cattiest shit you'll ever see and hear. The type of stuff you see, the pettiness of it all, the whispers in the corner, the spying on you when you're not looking. Yo, this shit follows you everywhere. The grapevine at these particular and at these colleges and institutions, so-called higher learning, is treacherous for a brother that's trying to, and especially a brother that's trying to infuse some culture. Shit, you become enemy number one. Just Pat said earlier, these HBCUs are trying more and more every day to be better versions or the black versions of the PWIs.
Yep.
Shit is
That's crazy.
disgusting.
Let's let the players finish up.
And students, and he gets mad at Coach Reed for music. You understand? We play that on campus every day
with DJs.
People dress very, very. You know,
that's I don't know if y'all heard that. That's why I was saying to my panel again. Look, I've been on 65 HBCU campuses, and so I'm like, okay, I hear you, Doc, but I know what I hear. And so if you're going to object to what you say Ed was playing or what was the music, then are you doing checks all around campus? Because I know what I hear.
And he's an interim president too, so he's kind of a non-factor. You know what I mean? In my opinion, when it comes to us as student athletes and as students, if you're going to actually come in and, you know, if you're going to actually do the community service with us, you know what I mean? We didn't see you at all. Yeah. We didn't see you not one time pick up any trash around here, not come around at all. So why didn't you come and do that with us? Because you know that that's something that could help with a lot of things, bring the campus together, which we did by ourselves. You know what I mean? We did that all by ourselves. I had a food truck come in and give free food out for everybody who was done picking up the trash with us. But then also campus security got called up on my food truck, and it's the first time it's ever happened to that food truck, and they got moved from the location.
We had to go out and buy our own garbage bags.
Yeah, we had to buy our own garbage bags.
They wouldn't let us into the athletic center.
Own facility.
The campus security said they got their keys taken away to the ATC. All we wanted to go in there and get was
trash
garbage bags and gloves. That's it.
That's all we wanted.
And I was one of the first people to get there at the ATC, and I was just standing there, and you know, people started walking up, and I was kind of like, "Are you guys athletes? Are you guys, you know?" And they were like, "No, we're here to help. We're here, you know, because we saw you guys picking up trash. We saw Ed Reed doing it, and we want to be a part of it." You see the videos, you see the pictures. Everybody was having a good time when we were doing it. He was on live with us. We got to say hi to him, you know. Yeah. I mean, that kind of change is something that you don't really see a lot anymore. I mean,
so you hear it out of the players' mouths. Like I said in the beginning, I'm not going to play the whole clips from all three, but you heard the president, you heard Ed Reed, and you heard the players. Now you have a chance to make an informed decision for yourself. I've already made one for myself because I've been looking at the information, but what's going on at BCU is some straight Negro mindset stuff, nigger stuff, all of that. It shouldn't be happening. Once again, adults are messing it up for the youth. The adults have failed the youth once again. Thank you, old ass people, for doing the same thing over and over.
No, the shit is sad, man. And once again, this is just the public image of black people just consistently take a hit because we have situations like this. And it's just a bad look because I don't care about how other people look at us, but I do care about how we should look at each other. And I care about the fact that, you know, I mean, you even heard the young people talk about the lack of respect they have for the man who claims to be the president of their school.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Because he got that mindset. Like, if white supremacy left today, people like President Drake would still continue it.
I think he go trying to find where the hell they went so he can go be up under them.
Don't leave me. Don't leave me.
Disney, don't go.
Please don't leave me. But yeah, man. So I don't want to have y'all on here all night because I know y'all had long days, but I appreciate y'all rocking with me as we break down what's going on with Ed Reed and BCU. It's a sad situation. It's a messed up situation. It shouldn't be happening. I feel bad for the students. Really feel bad for the students.
So this is how the students fix this, in my opinion. Keep doing what y'all were doing as far as cleaning up the facilities, and make sure that you keep giving Ed Reed credit for continuing, every time you do something, clean up the facilities. And when it's game time, don't play.
Well, yeah.
Now,
I
I
mean,
hate to say that because
but
I
you got
know
to take
some of y'all
drastic
are there
action.
on scholarship and you putting your scholarship at risk and this, that, and the third. But this is like, so if y'all really want to make a statement and impact change and get Ed Reed back, or let them know that this is not going to be tolerated. It's unfortunate the situation that they're in because we shouldn't have to ask
You're
college
gonna have to take
students
a
to do
drastic
this.
stance.
But at this point, y'all are the most powerful people in that situation. If it comes to the point where it's game day and y'all still aren't being heard out, don't play. Now, what we can do as a community on the back end is start creating some sort of fund to be able to pay for the education of all of those students that potentially lose a scholarship because they've decided not to play. And y'all do that, and we do that until Ed Reed, or really only Ed Reed, say I appreciate it, but no. You know what I'm saying? Because if he decide he don't want to come back there to deal with that fuck shit, then we gotta respect his wishes and move on. But that's my opinion. But I definitely like there's a community aspect to that too. It's not just me telling the kids not to play and put their future at risk. It's also me telling the community we need to start now raising funds so that if those kids choose not to play and their finances for their education are compromised because of that decision, we need to be able to step in and support them and say, you know what? Don't worry about it. You got a black person scholarship, and we're gonna pay for your education. That's my opinion.
Yeah. That's a solution. Definitely a solution. So before we close this out, PC, tell them about your show.
Oh, thanks, brother. Well, this is the reintroduction of office hours with Professor Carlton Jones. For people who are following, I had used to have a show back on YouTube and Facebook back in my God, what is it, 2015, 2016?
Yep.
And so we're reintroducing office hours, and we're on the FetLife radio station. So the FetLife station, you find it at fetlifestation.com. It's the internet radio show. We had a really good show tonight. Even a troll pulled up. So, we're going to dedicate a segment to the troll next week.
Acting like a hoe.
Yeah. Hey, man, listen, hoes got to eat too. So we're going
We think it was one, but we can't call them that because that's disrespectful, and we want to be allowed on BCU's campus.
Well, consider none of us are Christians. I think that might fall right in line. So, but yeah, 7 to 8 Fridays, and so on a day called Philly Friday. So we have a full platform, a full day. And shout out to my man Suave Gonzalez, good brother who put me on, as well as brother Lester, who is the director, owner of the show, of the network. So, hey man, listen, we doing it big, and we're moving around. We're everywhere. We're everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So pull a chair up next Friday, Philly Fridays. We're going to be in the house.
Hey, y'all know what it is. Mondays, book readings. Wednesdays, historical profiles of our unsung heroes. Fridays, the breakdowns. But yeah, be sure to check out. I dropped a video giving my opinions on Ron DeSantis rejecting the AP African American curriculum, and Ben Crump and them trying to sue him. So I did a reaction that I gave my opinion on that. So y'all make sure y'all check that video out. But yeah, it go down. Joseph Ward, Patrick Irvin, Professor Carlton Jones. We here to give you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, because we don't really care about your feelings. www.ontheshoulders1.com. We out.